Hey guys, welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. I'm Zoe Wafelbakker and this is Living in Austin. Today we are going to talk about new builds and whether or not they could be an option for you if you're looking at moving here. So let's get to it. Hey guys, I'm Zoe Wafelbakker with Agape Property Group here in Austin. If you're new to the channel, thank you for checking us out. Make sure that you hit that little subscribe button below and the notification bell next to it, and you'll get notified every time that we upload a video. Now, if you're here, you might be somewhat curious about what it is like to live in Austin. And that's what we're covering. We're covering what it's like to live, work, play, eat, all the things, so that you know before you choose to move. So as much as we love doing these videos, we are licensed realtors here in the state of Texas, and we love helping people even more purchase homes here in Austin. So if you are looking at moving, you're looking at buying a house, give us a call, drop us a text. Details are below. Whatever you do, make sure that you reach out. We have done it ourselves. We know it can be pretty stressful, and there's an awful lot to decide on before you move. So yeah, give us a call, drop us a text. Got our number below, our email below. We'd love to hear from you, hear what your plans are, and see how we might be able to guide you in any kind of way. So enough about that. Today we are talking about new builds. Now we have actually done a video on new builds before, something about like the things that you need to know. Now I wanted to do another one on new builds at the moment because things have somewhat changed. The Austin market has changed over the last 4 months, and to give you a quick one on that, like 5 months ago we had 2 weeks worth of inventory. That means like if all the houses like stopped going on the market, we would run out of houses in 2 weeks. Now that has dramatically changed, and we've got like 3.5 months worth of, 3.5 months worth of inventory. So things have changed in the resale market, things have changed in the new build market. So how does this impact you and whether or not a new build is right for you? So the first thing I would look at is your time frame. You know, there are a couple of options in buying new builds. So I'm going to cover those, but if you, well, let's get straight into it. If you have an immediate need for a house, at the minute, you can buy a house. And like I say, 6 months ago, that was just not possible because they were like releasing maybe 2 houses or literally a handful of houses a month, and there were huge waiting lists, and it was just all a bit crazy. Now, builders have kind of like got their heads back together. Sorry, builders. They're now in competition with resale houses. So what happens? Some builders they build what's called spec homes. Now, spec homes are the builders made all the choices. They've chosen the floor plan that's going on the lot, they've chosen the design, they've chosen all the finishes, they've chosen everything. Now, what they were previously doing is just saying, right, here's a house, you're on a wait list, here's a house, it's 1,700 square feet and it's this floor plan, and we've chosen this design package. And you'd go, yeah, no, and if you were no, then you'd go, right, okay, you'd wait for another house. Well, now there's like an excess of houses for a lot of builders. So you could potentially either like get something that's available at the moment, or there's one that's going to be coming up in a couple of months' time. So that could be a really good option for you, especially if you're looking at moving here and things, you know, because it takes time to move. You know, unfortunately, we can't just like go, well, some of us can, just like pack the bag and we're out. So that time frame may well suit you. Now the good thing on spec homes is that they want to get rid of them, they want to sell them. So previously, and really for the last couple of years, like when anyone would say to me, I want to get a deal on a house, it was kind of like, to get a deal was, well, to get a house is a deal, we hardly had anything, so, you're kind of lucky if you even get a house. Well, now, it's kind of tricky. Can't say that you'll get a deal on a house, but they're providing so many more incentives. They are somewhat, they're a bit more flexible. They'll provide some concessions, and so it's great for buyers. So that's an option. And then what you've got, you have the option of like build on your lot builds. Now, these were really put to the side over the last couple of years because they took time, and still some builders were doing them, but not half as many as what they were doing like 3 years ago. But what you do there, that's when you get to choose the lot, and there might be a lot premium, and you get to choose the floor plan, and you get to go to the design center and spec it out. Something with that, I'd budget for like 20 or 30% over your base price if you go to the design center. That's something to know there. So those options are coming up, but your build time for those, allow, I would say, at least 12 months. Now, some of them come in at around 8 months. Bear in mind, we do still have some supply issues. So I don't know, I like to add on a bit more time when it comes to, add on a little bit more money and add on a little bit more time when it comes to building, because they sometimes go well over. Now, that's an awesome option because you get to choose. So that is an option. And again, they are providing some incentives. And often how you see these incentives are if you use their lender. And what I would say about that is do your homework, get your realtor to help you do your homework on, comparing apples with apples if you like, okay, this lender, the builder's lender, is providing this with the incentives, but are they actually, have they got super high charges like origination fees and stuff, where it might be better to go with another lender, a local lender, for example, or one you've worked with in the past. So always compare. And when you first go under contract, you're not committed to working with their lender. You just have to go through the pre-approval process, and then, that's it until we get closer to the time. So that's the option. Now, another option is, and because we're talking about Texas and there's so much land and all of that, is to go custom. That's a great option. And I just sold some land this year. Was it this year? Yeah, I think so. Out in Dripping Springs, like a couple of acres. It was like a 3.5 acre lot, and you could build down to the deed restrictions and everything, your dream home. You could choose your builder, you could spec it out however you wanted. You weren't just following, choosing one of like 10 floor plans, and getting an architect and going down that road. That's a very viable option. So that is obviously, I think, well, it's certainly a dream of mine to be able to do that. But it is an option, and because there's places like Dripping Springs, or further up north you want to go to like Liberty Hill and Marble Falls, and those areas that are further out of Austin, if you're not bothered by that, then that could be a win for you. Excuse me. And then there's something else to think about. Here's another one which is a bit left field for you. Left field for you. Now, it's not buying an actual new home, but what about buying a home that's like 1 or 2 years old? Now, the beauty of that, and you'll see it on remarks in the MLS and stuff, it's like better than new. And it's kind of true. So hear me out on this one. If you're looking at, buying a house, maybe that's, resale, but it's not been on the market for a year, but the sellers have only had it for a year or two. What you get there is they've done a lot of the, making it a home. So you might have some, amazing walls, feature walls, and I'm actually looking at my home at the moment. Like, I put in hardware, I painted, the kitchen cabinets, really pretty color actually, and I did a major feature wall in the bedroom, and changed out all those the builders' lights and fans and all of those things. But so as soon as you're moving in, it feels more homely, and that's quite nice. And the first owners have done a lot of those hard yards. And the big thing I would say is, especially if those first owners have done like into landscaping and got into the landscaping straight away, that's really good, because when you buy here, you'll get sod in the front yard and like a little patch of landscaping. There'll be a few plants and a bit of mulch and what have you. Most of the time, every house for the last 5 years that I've represented buyers on a new construction, we've had in-ground sprinkler systems, automatic in-ground sprinkler systems, so that's cool, out the front and the back. I know that's different in other states. And you get sod out the back as well. So you got grass out there, and that's good, but that's it, and there's not much else, so if someone's come in and then they've put pavers down, or they've extended the back patio, and they've put some pretty trees, some crepe myrtles, whatever they're called, and a fire pit, all that kind of thing, it's done for you, and that's an expense, and other expenses, like typically the houses here, they don't come with gutters. Strange, I know, but the original owners, they might have put in gutters, like the I'm pointing to my window, by the way. A lot of builders don't put in the blinds, so that's a decent expense. If you're looking at 2.5 or 3,000 square foot house, you got a whole lot of windows to furnish. So these things would have already been done for you, and that first owner has gone through all the kinks of going into a new home. So if there's been any problems, they've dealt with it with the home warranty company, and then the house is kind of running smoothly. It's kind of got into its flow. So that's definitely an option. And with that, and I think going back to that whole landscaping thing, it's kind of important to know, because different areas of Texas do different things. And I know in the El Paso area, for example, builders actually give you an allowance, which I think is actually very, very smart, but they give you an allowance to do your own landscaping, whereas here they don't. So that's just something to consider. Don't write off the houses that are like 1 or 2 years old. Now, other things that you need to know about new build communities is, if you do get into a new build community, you could be living in a bit of a construction site. And it depends on what stage that you're getting into it. So again, if you get into one that's already, it's been going for a couple of years, or 1 or 2 years, you might be in a section, because especially if they're looking at selling it, they've been in it for a year, that's not in a construction site. So that's a kind of nice thought. And the other thing that I would say is about buying new construction. This isn't to put you off it at all, but it's something to be aware of. If you're going to be buying like in a really big 1,500, 2,000, what's going to be a master plan community, if it's a short-term thing for you, if it's going to be a 2-year house or whatever, 3-year house, bear in mind that when you do go to sell, you are going to be in competition with with the builder, okay? And they're going to be going like, oh, I've got this nice new shiny house where you can make all the decisions. So think about where the community is at and what your plans are in the future. Now, if you're like, nah, I'm in this house for the next 15 years, then fine, happy days, you're golden. But if it is like a short-term investment and you think you'll be moving to another location or whatever, then that's something to think about, because there are homes that sit on the market for longer because they're in competition with those brand new houses. So all things to consider. Now, the last thing I would say, and something that's kind of, I don't know if it's specific to Texas, but it is something that we have here, and I don't know if you have it in other states, but we have PIDs, which is Public Improvement Districts. So again, another thing to be aware of, and to ask your builder if it's in a PID, they have to actually declare it. But it's a Public Improvement District, it's another tax. That's what you need to know. And you have to pay it off over a period of time. You could pay it off in bulk, but if you're going to sell the house, in a few years' time, there's not a lot of point to do that. It runs over about 30 years, and interestingly, you actually get. Can you hear my dog drinking? She's drinking her water. You can probably hear the background there. My little Frenchie pug mix, my little frog. I should get her on one of these videos soon. Anyway, I digress. That's something that's on top of your normal taxes. So be aware if it's in a PID or not. And I think that's about it, guys. Let me look at my little notes here if I had anything else that was important to tell you. That's it. Landscaping, your gutters. One last thing. There you go. Another expense, it's not a major expense to be aware of again, is if you're getting tile, especially in your main living areas and bedroom and stuff. They do some kind of cool like wood plank tile these days, and you'll need to like seal the grout. So that's just something to consider. But if you're looking at moving here, if you're looking at a new build, we'd love to be able to guide you. It is a good idea whether you use us or you use someone else, another realtor, to have a realtor, because they represent you. The builder represents themselves, and you need someone that has got your back the whole way. So that's it from me, guys. Just, here's our details again. Give us a call, drop us a text, do all those things. We'd love to hear from you and see how we can help. But until next time, have a great one. Bye-bye.